I want you to picture a moment you have definitely experienced. You're walking down the grocery aisle, right?
Yeah,
You reach for your absolute favorite go-to brand of whatever, and there's just an empty space on the shelf.
just a total blank spot. It's the worst.
Right. And welcome to the deep dive, by the way. Today, we are looking at exactly that moment because it turns out that little empty space, it's a massive crisis for consumer brands right now.
Oh, absolutely. It's a huge issue.
We're pulling from a really fascinating deep dive over at the C3 Centricity blog by Denise Drummond-Dunn. And our mission today is to figure out how reigniting CPG, that's consumer packaged goods, how reigniting that momentum all comes down to supply chain volatility.
Yeah, and it's funny because for years, supply chains were just, well, they were boring back office stuff.
Right. Totally invisible.
Exactly. Procurement teams worried about it, but as a
Right.
consumer, you never saw it. But today,
Yeah,
that volatility is shoved right in the shopper's face.
it really is. So let's talk about that gap.
Yeah.
Because there's this massive disconnect between the internal chaos companies are dealing with and, the total simplicity that we expect as consumers.
Right. And to understand that, we have to look at the macroeconomic data Denise highlights. So KPMG is predicting that things like tariffs, protectionism, trade disruptions, they're just going to keep happening.
Like well into 2026 and beyond.
Right, yeah, constantly recurring.
Yeah.
And those things can change the landed cost of a product literally overnight. It's wild.
Wow, overnight.
Yeah. So in response, Deloitte reports that 69%, almost 7 out of 10 consumer products executives are actively shortening their supply chains right now just to reduce that risk.
Wait, okay. So if 69% of executives are basically ripping up the floorboards and restructuring everything, shouldn't we as consumers notice that effort?
You'd think so, right?
I mean, I always picture it like a duck on a pond. On the surface, the brand is just gliding along smoothly on the store shelf. But underwater, they are paddling frantically to reroute ships and build new factories.
That is the perfect analogy. They are paddling for their lives. But the thing is, the shopper doesn't see a near-shored factory in Mexico or a brilliant new shipping route.
Right.
They just see that the specific flavor of chips they wanted isn't there. Or maybe they notice promotion got canceled or the box got smaller, but the price stayed the same.
Shrinkflation.
Exactly. So these massive multi-million-dollar strategic moves just look incredibly mundane to the consumer. And that gap between internal complexity and external simplicity is exactly where trust just breaks.
Yeah, and that brings us to why that mundane little gap hurts so much. Because a missing item really does provoke a strong reaction now.
It does. It's not just an annoyance anymore.
No, it's emotional. And the source actually pulls from NIQ's 2026 Consumer Outlook to explain this. Consumers are just exhausted. Budgets are super tight, and they found that 95% of people say trusting the brand they buy from is absolutely critical.
95%. That's basically everybody.
Everybody. And the number one driver of that trust is consistency. So when that item is missing, it forces what the text calls forced reconsideration.
Oh, I love this concept. Forced reconsideration.
Right. It means an out-of-stock item isn't just one lost sale. The consumer literally stops in the aisle and has to think, do I wait? Do I just buy the store brand? Do I even need this at all?
Which is terrifying for a brand.
Yeah.
You never want the consumer to ask if they even need you.
Never. Think about your morning coffee routine. If you stumble into the kitchen and your brand suddenly isn't there, you aren't standing there pondering global freight delays.
No, you're just mad.
You feel mildly betrayed. It's like this broken, unwritten agreement. I give you money, you give me caffeine.
Exactly. You feel like they broke a promise.
Yeah.
And that emotional weight is exactly why brands completely freeze up when these shortages happen.
Oh, the silence. We have to talk about the silence.
Right, because instinctively, CPG teams just stay totally quiet. They wait for absolute certainty from their supply chain people before they say a word to the public.
But wait, isn't it better to be quiet than to be wrong?
You'd think so, but no.
I mean, if I tell a friend I'll be there in 10 minutes and I get stuck in traffic and show up an hour late, they're way madder than if I just said I was delayed from the start.
Right, but what if you say nothing at all? What if you just ghost them?
Oh, true. If I'm sitting on the curb with 0 text messages, I'm fuming.
Exactly. Corporate silence is basically getting ghosted by a brand. And the source makes it clear that silence is the worst option because it creates its own story.
People fill in the blanks.
Yes. To the retailers, the brand just looks disorganized. And to the consumer, it looks like you don't have any empathy. They don't want to lecture on logistics. They just want to know you respect their time.
So if silence is the enemy and communication is the cure, who is supposed to actually do the talking? Because this brings us to a huge irony in the text.
The mid-level managers, the unexpected heroes here.
Yes. Imagine being tasked with fixing a broken promise when you don't even own the tools that broke it, because marketing doesn't own the factory. Sales doesn't own the shipping routes. Insights doesn't own supplier risk. But these mid-level managers are the ones who have to own the explanation to the consumer.
It's a huge burden, but the source actually breaks down how these specific roles can make an impact without having any operational control.
How do they do that? Because it sounds impossible.
Well, take insights managers, for example. They can't fix a delayed truck, but they can translate availability data into actual switching risk.
Ah, so they show the real cost.
Right. They can go to leadership and say, hey, if we don't fix this, X% of our customers are going to switch to a competitor and never come back.
That gets attention. What about the innovation teams?
So innovation managers have to make really tough calls, like deciding if it's better to launch a new product late but with confidence, or launch it on time but with weak, inconsistent availability.
Oh, that's a tough call. Nobody wants a weak launch.
Exactly. It just angers everyone. And then you have the sales managers. They're the ones who have to give retailers a credible answer about the category before the buyer even asks.
So they have to be proactive. They walk in and say, we know we're short on this size, but here's our plan to push this other size instead.
Spot on. But to do that effectively, they need a framework. And that's where the source introduces this brilliant tool called the cat sight process.
Yes, cat sight. I love this part. Let's unpack this framework because it brings all this internal panic back to what the consumer actually needs.
Right. It starts with defining category risk.
Which is so interesting because it points out that not all missing items cause the same panic. Like, if my premium dog treat is missing, I'm bummed, sure.
But you'll survive.
Exactly. But if a routine baby food formula is out of stock, that is instant panic for a parent.
Complete panic. So you have to define the risk level first. And then the framework says you need to get intimate with the audience experience.
Which means not just looking at a spreadsheet of lost sales, right?
Right. You have to actually read call center transcripts.
Right.
You have to look at online reviews and figure out what the consumer is feeling in that exact moment.
You have to find the human truth. And according to the text, that truth usually comes down to dependability and respect.
Yes. And if you understand that, you can craft the perfect apology.
Okay, we have to talk about the message template the source provides, because this is gold. It's the exact message brands should use. Let me just read it.
Go for it.
Okay. It says, supply is temporarily constrained. The formula is unchanged. Try the 500 milliliter format. We expect full availability by insert date.
It is so simple.
It's brilliant. It's so direct. Notice what it doesn't say. There's no corporate jargon. There's no whining about global macroeconomic conditions.
Because consumers do not care about your supply chain issues.
They really don't. And it gives the consumer immediate agency. Hey, just buy the 500 milliliter size. The formula is exactly the same.
That part is crucial, confirming the formula hasn't changed. Because otherwise, people start rumors that the brand is cutting corners.
Oh, totally. And giving a specific date, it completely kills the rumor mill. You aren't guessing when it's coming back.
It's just a masterclass in respecting the consumer's intelligence.
It really is. So pulling all this together, the big takeaway here is that the strongest CPG brands won't be the ones that magically avoid supply chain issues.
Because that's literally impossible right now.
Right. The winners are going to be the ones who understand this trust risk and prepare their stories early. Availability isn't just logistics anymore. It is the brand.
It's a core part of the promise. If you aren't on the shelf, your brand doesn't exist in that moment.
Exactly. So to everyone listening, especially if you're leading a team in the CPG space, you need to be ready for this. If you want to reignite momentum in your career and your company, make sure you subscribe to this channel.
Definitely do that.
And then you've got to head over to c3centricity.com. There are so many more ideas there. You can even book a free business makeover session.
Highly recommend that.
And seriously, reach out and ask them for the free HD infographic of this detailed cat sight process we just talked about. You will want that on your desk.
It's a lifesaver when things go wrong.
It really is. But before we wrap up, I want to leave you with one final kind of provocative thought to chew on.
Ooh, okay.
We talked a lot today about how an empty shelf creates this moment of forced reconsideration, right? Where they might switch to a competitor.
Right, the danger zone.
But what if you flip that on its head?
How so?
Well, what if a brand became so transparent and so empathetic during a shortage that this moment of forced reconsideration actually made the consumer more fiercely loyal than they were before the crisis?
Oh, wow. Like winning them over by how well you handle the failure.
Exactly. Can a massive failure in logistics actually become your greatest marketing win? Think about that next time you see an empty spot on the shelf. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, and we'll catch you next time.